Hi guys, welcome back. So in our previous videos, we have talked about trading and investing our money. But for today, we will be talking about our spending habits and impulsive purchases specifically, and kung paano siya nagiging deductive in our personal goal or our personal journey towards financial freedom. Deductive in a sense na we are literally spending our money na pwede natin sanang i-invest for our future needs, but also deductive in a personal mindset sense. Let me explain. So the first step towards mitigating or correcting a bad habit or a mistake is always acknowledgement. Kailangan muna natin i-recognize and be humble enough to admit that we are guilty of these mistakes. My bad habits regarding impulsive purchases are specific to me, and your bad habits in impulsive purchases are specific to you. Pero there's no harm in recognizing that there's always room for improvement sa bad habits ko man o sa bad habits mo para din hindi natin madala to sa pagtanda. And lastly, if you are new to this channel, my name is Rap and I am not a financial expert. I don't do this for a living and hindi rin ako graduate with Latin honors. I'm just a regular guy sharing my experience, and the goal of this channel is to create a community so that we can all share our own personal systems and learn from each other. So kung mahilig ka sa trading, personal finance, and investing, kahit hindi ganun kalaki yung sweldo mo or salary, and you share my dream/goal of retiring early kasi ayoko magtrabaho until I'm at age 65, then please consider subscribing because this channel is for you. Alright, so the first type of impulse purchase na nagiging detrimental sa savings journey natin ay yung pagbili sa mga equipment or hobbies na hindi pa naman tayo ganun ka-committed. Ito yung mga hobbies na bago pa lang tayo, in-explore pa lang natin, and hindi naman necessarily na mag-go all in na tayo. Gusto lang natin itry. So parang jump rope or biking or baking, ganyan. So the idea here is don't get into a hobby too fast. If you need to spend some money kasi kailangan ng hobby mo ng equipment or in the case of cooking raw materials, make sure to do your own research to find the best value without sacrificing maybe taste or safety of the items. Pero in case naman ng sports-related activities or sports-related hobbies like cycling, make sure na hindi ka kukuha lang or bibili lang ng bike na karag-karag na kinakalawang na tapos yung parts masyado nagra-rattle. Kasi you're just compromising and increasing your risk na ma-injure ka. Hindi siya cost-effective in the long term kasi kung ma-aksidente ka, mas mataas pa yung babayaran mo kaysa kung bumili ka ng item na safe pero hindi naman ganun kamahal. I'm just saying na you don't need the best gear, best equipment, best materials when you're just starting out. And maybe do some research kung ano ba yung best budget blank for this specific activity. Kasi I'm sure yung mga nagre-recommend naman ng mga tao dyan from that specific field ay experienced na and they know what you're getting for your budget, and they'll give you suggestions on which one will give the best bang for your buck. Na-experience ko to actually nung nag-start pa lang ako sa jump rope. Naging part kasi ako ng table tennis team nung college. So may konting experience na ako sa jump rope. Hindi ko na i-consider yung sarili ko na beginner. Pero I never had my own pair. I never had my own rope. Nitong pandemic lang ulit bumalik yung interest ko in jumping rope kasi you don't need a lot of space to be able to do this activity. And it's good cardio. I didn't really want to buy a new one. So buti na lang merong lumang rope dun sa bahay na tinitirahan ko noon. And it was not the best quality rope. It was very sluggish, it was very flimsy. Pero it does the job. It did the job. Kasi yung goal ko lang naman noon is makapagpapawis kahit naka-lockdown tayo, kahit nasa loob lang tayo ng bahay. And kung ibabangga natin yung output ng activity with that rope versus its intended purpose, I think I got the most value out of that rope. So a few weeks later, when I realized na baka mas matagal pa tayo sa lockdown na to, and napapansin ko rin na nag-i-improve na ako ulit, that's only when I decided to buy a newer rope, a better quality rope, na mura pa rin naman. I think it was just under 400 pesos. And what I want to tell you is, kung nagsimula agad ako sa rope na to, baka hindi ko napansin yung improvement ko. I wouldn't be able to appreciate my progress. And baka tama rin agad ako kasi hindi ko nararamdaman yung progress ko, yung incremental improvement in my activity. Nowadays, hindi na ako masyadong nag-jump rope kasi I'm getting more and more interested in this new activity na tinatry ko, in this new hobby which is running. And looking back in retrospect, buti na lang na hindi agad ako bumili ng over-the-top na rope, mga 2,000 pesos, 3,000 pesos na rope. I'm sure it will just be sitting here in my room collecting dust. Also, another benefit of not getting into a new hobby too quickly is you have the liberty of jumping from one hobby to another. Hindi ka magigilty na marami ka nang ininvest na oras, ininvest na pera sa isang activity kasi nga pinili nating mga equipment, pinili nating mga items ay hindi naman ganun kamahal. And hindi ba parang part na rin to ng goal natin to explore a lot of activities and find the right one, find the right hobby for us. Kung gagastos tayo for the best gear, best equipment for every new activity, keyword is new new, then money becomes a limiting factor. Kasi pag nag-spend tayo for this new activity, for new activity A, mababawasan yung pwede natin spend for new activity B. Pero guys, if sa tingin mo naman nahanap mo na yung tamang activity or tamang hobby for you, then by all means, gastusin mo yung pera na yan. Kasi this is what our journey is all about, to be able to enjoy our money and hindi lang tayo magtrabaho sa 9 to 5 job natin. So yung next impulse purchase natin ay yung mga snacks during groceries. Ito yung isa sa mga malakas kumain sa budget natin kasi wala nga siya sa budget. So bakit ka bumibili ng snacks? Ba't ka bumibili ng milk tea, ng potato corner papunta sa grocery? So that's me talking to myself and guilt-shaming myself kasi hindi ko talaga maiwasan paminsan-minsan. Pag pumupunta ako sa grocery, may nakikita akong mga snacks, mga donuts, zagu. Kaya ang hirap minsan maiwasan. Kaya hindi ako magiging hypocrite dito guys kasi guilty rin ako dito. And then during the few cases, few scenarios na nakokontrol ko yung sarili ko outside the grocery, yung tendency ko naman is mag-compensate inside kasi bumibili ako ng mga snacks na hindi ko naman kailangan. Wala sa list ko, wala sa grocery shopping list. Kaya napapabili ako to satisfy my cravings. Pero yung solution dito is surprisingly simple. Make sure that you don't go into the grocery feeling hungry. Yun lang. Kung hindi tayo gutom or kung kumain na tayo before pa tayo mag-grocery, hindi tayo matitempt pag duman tayo sa Master Siomai, sa Zagu, sa Lil Orbits. And makakapag-focus tayo on the grocery activity lang. Makakapag-stick tayo sa budget natin, makakapag-stick tayo sa grocery shopping list. And speaking of grocery shopping list, I cannot overemphasize the benefit of having one before you go to the grocery. Kasi nga, well, first of all, makakapag-stick ka sa budget mo. And then second, hindi ka malalos or magwa-wonder sa grocery kasi hindi mo alam yung bibilhin mo. Baka mamaya niyan, mapunta ka pa sa ice cream aisle, tapos makakita ka ng bagong flavor ng ice cream na gusto mong i-try. So wala na, GG na. Napa-add to cart ka na. But guys, if part talaga ng routine mo sa pag-grocery ay kumain ng lunch or dinner, like me before, nung sinasabay ko pa yung weekend lunch ko sa grocery time, then that's fine. As long as nasa plano, nasa budget, goods yan. What we don't want are the unplanned snacks or unplanned drinks. Kaya naman, as much as it hurts me to say this, guys, bawal yung unplanned milk tea. Sorry! So itong next habit or bad behavior na dapat nating i-fix ay buying food or drinks to please someone or a group. I know, medyo controversial, pero please hear me out. Ito yung moments during a group hangout or an eat out when you offer to pay the bill. And nangyayari din siya minsan sa mga overnight na magpapadeliver kayo ng food, tapos gusto mo mag-offer ng, ay sige ako na magbabayad ng pizza, for example. This is good if it comes from a place of generosity and genuine talaga yung pag-offer mo. Gusto natin mag-spread ng positivity and good vibes and generosity in this channel. So if one way for you to do that is by offering to pay the bill, then go ahead. I guess the bad habit that I want to emphasize here is sometimes we have the tendency to be people-pleasing. And I know because sometimes ganyan din ako, I have this tendency rin. Humans like to be liked, so sometimes merong social pressure to do likable things para lang makapag-fit in tayo sa isang group. Actually, yung other people, especially if ginagawa mo to sa mga hindi mo naman ka-close or yung mga tao na hindi sanay pag ikaw yung nag-offer magbayad ng bill, they might think na meron kang ulterior motive for doing this gesture. And again, please don't get me wrong. I understand na if pure naman yung intention mo for doing this, then you shouldn't worry about it. But please just be careful and be aware that these kinds of people do exist. In my opinion, mas nagsistick yung ganitong gestures if you do it consistently and without asking for anything in return. If hindi mo pa na-try pero gusto mong simulan, feel free to do so, basta make sure that you follow through para hindi mag-isip ng kung ano-ano yung mga recipients ng generosity mo. Consistently tempted ka ba to upgrade your setup? Hindi ka ba makatulog sa gabi sa kaka-check ng Shopee and Lazada for sales? Sumasali ka ba sa daan-daang Facebook Marketplace groups para mahanap yung best deal? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm sorry to say, but you are suffering from the symptoms of upgrade-itis. This is related to our individual hobbies from the first point, so it could be a computer setup, a kitchen setup, a bike setup, coffee making setup. Pahirap na ng pahirap yung pag-iwas sa mga ganitong targeted ads and impulse purchases kasi the social media apps that we use every day are always watching us and they always give us the best deal that we should take advantage of. Pahamak din yung mga monthly sale ni Lazada and Shopee or yung e-commerce apps. Kakatapos lang ng 5.5, so meron na namang 6.6, 7.7, 8.8. Kasi napapansin nyo ba na unconsciously nag-anticipate tayo ng new deals, new notifications about having a new voucher, or yung in-add to cart mo last month, nakasale na ba siya ngayon? I'll give you guys an example from my personal experience. I'm really interested in purchasing a specific digital watch from Garmin. In a way, upgrade-itis din ito kasi I am looking to upgrade from my current digital running watch, which is ito. Mura lang siya and pasalubong siya ng pinsan ko when they went to Japan 4 years ago. So I did my own research for a few weeks, and then I consulted my friend who is a running enthusiast, and then we arrived at this specific Garmin model na sakto yung features sa kailangan ko. Tapos right now, I'm just saving up for this model. But going back, ever since na nag-decide ako, dumaan yung 4.4 and 5.5 na sale, and nag-aabang ako kung magsisale nga ba yung model na to. And true enough, nag-sale siya for about 500 pesos off. And in that moment, sobrang tempting to add to cart, pero buti na lang na himasmasan ako, and until now, hindi ko pa binibili yung watch na to. I won't bore you guys about the details and the reasons kung bakit gusto ko yung watch na to, pero bibilin ko pa rin siya in the future. I just need to make sure na hindi to impulse purchase, hindi siya impulse decision, and make sure na may budget din ako para mabili ko tong item. In other words, the purchase should be intentional. From that example, I learned two things. First, the longer I delay this purchase and save to buy the item, the greater the gratification that I will get from it. And second, if an item will give value to my life, then hindi ko kailangan maghintay ng sale. Bonus na lang kung may matsempuhan tayo. So yun guys, ito yung mga impulse purchase behaviors na kailangan nating i-revisit and i-review. And next time na mag-add to cart ka sa Shopee or Lazada, sana maalala mo itong video na to. Before I go, share ko lang din itong powerful line na nakuha ko from my daily meditation book. Kasi sakto siya sa topic natin ngayon. Ang sabi dito, fight your urge to gather and hoard. That's not the right way to live and act. Appreciate and take advantage of what you already do have, and let that attitude guide your actions. See you next week!